So hello everybody. This is now part 2 of chapter 5. So where we left off was on this slide here, which shows the future value of money growing, and you can clearly see, as I said, the higher the interest rate over the longer period of time, the more you're going to have. It kind of makes sense, right? The more interest, the more money you get. So there should be no surprise there. So maybe let me just close this thing here. And, alright, so let's just go over some terms here about present value now. Present value of a single amount of money is the current dollar value of a future amount, the amount of money that you would have to put in the bank, let's say today, at a given interest rate, to equal some future amount. So the question is simply this. A dollar today is worth more than a dollar tomorrow. So basically, just think about if you wanted to have like $1 million when you retire in the future, and you had to put one single amount of money in the bank today, how much would you have to put in today in the present to accumulate $1 million if you knew what the interest rate was, of course, right? As long as you know the fixed interest rate. All right, so basically we're going to discount whatever cash flows we have in the future and bring them back this way, boom, boom, to the present. You have to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges, right? Right, and it's basically, this is the inverse of compounding interest. So this is an important concept right here. And we'll highlight that, right? That's important. It's the inverse. All right, and there's different names for the discount rate that you use when you do present value. It's also known as the opportunity cost, the discount rate, the required rate of return, or the cost of capital. So discount rate has many names, so don't get confused by that. Don't get confused by that. All right, so Paul Shorter, here's a nice simple example. He wants to have $300 a year from now. He needs to have $300 in a year. How much does he have to put in the bank today to have $300, right? At 6%. So you can clearly see, if you go through this simple example here, that if you put $283 in the bank today, you will have $300 in the future at 6%. So that's a nice simple way of looking at things, right? So here's the equation I just applied. And you'll notice, you should notice that the present value equation and the future value equation we previously looked at are really one and the same. All I did was solve the previous future value equation for this, for PV when it was FV over here. So if you now know how to manipulate equations, you can clearly see it's really only one equation. So this present value of some future amount, so many years from now at an interest rate that's specified, or opportunity cost, will give you a present value. And remember, this is of a single amount, right? Just a single amount of money. Let's say somebody gives you $10,000 and you put it in the bank and you kind of leave it there for many years. I wish somebody would give me $10,000, but anyway, all right. So here's another example of that. Nice simple example. So in 8 years, she's going to have $1,700 in 8 years. How much should she put in the bank to accumulate $1,700? And it winds up, if she puts $918.46 in the bank today, if interest rates were this high and fixed for 8 years, she would end up with $1,700. Okay, and here's the timeline that simply shows that. The timeline that simply shows that. And again, here is how you can do it with the calculator. And here is Microsoft Excel's version. Right. So let me bring up rather quickly. Hold on, I'll bring up Microsoft. What I want to show you the built-in functions in Excel here. for finance, and we'll do some. So if you see right here's Excel. You see this f of x right here? You see f of x? Well, if I click on that, don't be afraid. You should try this. Click on it, and you see this box pops up, and it's got a load of equations. Loads of equations. So you see it says most recently used that I used. But if you look here, all, right? Look, financial, date and time, math. These are all built in. All right? So if I click on financial, you can clearly see how many different finance equations are here. And of course, present value and future value. Oops, sorry about that. Hold on. So, you know, and future value here. If you want to find a particular one, you just come up here and type, like, let's say FV for future value. And there's the function, and there's present value. See them right here? Future value and present value, and here's how you can find the interest rate. So we'll be playing with these. And they have a little blurb down there for each of them. Alright, so we'll be playing with those later. So I just wanted you to see these. So this is good to know. So let me close this out. And let's bring up that PowerPoint again. And this is kind of what we just looked at in PowerPoint. Alright, so here's the relationship graphically wise of present value, and obviously the lower the interest rate, the higher the interest rate, I'm sorry. Basically, the less you have to put away in the present to accumulate money, right? So this is just telling you I only have to put away a smaller amount because interest rates are higher and it'll grow. Here, of course, it's 0%. You have to, you know, if you put money under the mattress, it's never going to grow. So, and inflation, of course, will eat it away. All right. So now the term annuity. Annuity is an important term. While I sip my coffee, and an annuity is a specified amount. So I'm going to highlight this because this is kind of important. I'll highlight this for you. An annuity is a stream of equal periodic cash flows. Now, what all this is saying in a lot of words is you put money in like a 401k on a regular basis. Like every time you get a paycheck, you put money away. It's the same amount of money over the same amount of period. Okay? Or it could be an outflow too. You could be getting your pension, right? And money comes to you every 2 weeks from your pension. And, you know, you put money in a 401k when you're young. And then when you're old, you draw it out. All right, so now there's two terms you have to know. An ordinary annuity is you're putting the money in at the end of each particular period, like the end of every 2 weeks, right? And an annuity due is an annuity from which the money goes in at the beginning of each period. So my company puts my money away for me every month, okay? But it's the end of the month. So that's an ordinary annuity. If they would have done it at the beginning of the month, which is an annuity due, basically then the money would have, you know, grown quicker. Because, right, you're going to get more interest rate if they would have put the money in at the beginning. So these two terms are real important. So, so you should know these two terms here. All right, so let's look at this. So Fran Abrams is choosing which of two annuities to receive. So there's two 5-year annuities, and $1,000. And annuity A is an ordinary one, and annuity B is an annuity due. Fran has listed the cash flows for both annuities. So the total, right? 1,000 times 5 is a 5-year, a $5,000 annuity. So here they're just showing you the representation of the cash flows for an ordinary versus an annuity due. So you notice here, right, the money goes in at the end of year 1, right? See, this is the end of year 1. And they show year 0. This is the beginning of year 1. So this is an annuity due. Everyone notice the difference here? Everything is kind of shifted up here by 1. Right? So you get the money quicker, obviously, right? So this is the difference between an ordinary annuity and annuity due. Any questions on that, just let me know. All right, so here's the real important equation for an ordinary annuity, okay? So I'll go over this a little. So this is the money you're putting in every period or every month. Sometimes they call it payment, PMT, or they also call it cash flow, right? And here's the interest rate and the number of years. So this is the future value of an ordinary annuity, right? And you just got to solve. Now, again, this is built into Excel. This is all built into Excel, and I'll try to go over that with you. Here's the interest rate, right? This is the number of years, or the number of payments, right, over which the annuity is spread. All right, so I think probably this is 11 minutes into this, and I think I'll stop here, and then when I pick up, I'll pick up on this slide again. Alrighty. So everyone have a good day, and I will be in touch with you soon again.